What's going on, everyone? My name is William Walker here on Trekker's Delight. We are real excited because we're going to be talking about episodes 2 and 3 of Star Trek Picard Season 2. I am so excited. But first, we're going to go ahead and get our intro out the way. Stay tuned. All right. Wow. Those two episodes were freaking crazy. I don't know how many times I've watched some of the scenes over and over and over again. There's so much that we got to cover. But real quick, introduce yourselves real quick, everyone, starting with Manny.
Hey everyone, I'm Manny. I'm here for it. I'm one of the main hosts here, and I'm still blown away by these episodes, and I can't wait to get into it. I'm a science teacher in Abu Dhabi, and I'm up early to discuss some amazing stuff about these episodes with y'all.
Jermaine, please.
Hey everyone, this is Jermaine. Nice to be here talking about Picard.
Marie.
Hi everybody, I'm Marie. Good to see you all on this Sunday night. Super excited to talk about these two episodes of Picard, and yeah, was completely unprepared. I blame you, William. I blame you.
Look, I'm just okay. You know, I can't contain myself when it comes to this because this is so freaking crazy. Like, I'm just like, oh my god, like, you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for literally all of it. I'm here for all of it. It has my 100% approval. I'm gonna read the summary now. I gotta contain myself because I'm literally freaking out like I just watched Generations for the first time. other thoughts and opinions excluded. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go over the summary real quick for episode 2 called Penance. All right, so let's see here. Yep, the first one was Stargazer, the second one is Penance. So Picard learns that he and his companions are in an alternate timeline where humanity has formed the xenophobic Confederation of Earth, literally putting the mirror universe to shame, systematically eradicating or enslaving aliens. Picard and the Confederation's greatest military commander has been granted the honor of executing the last Borg Queen by 7 of 9, who is the president of the Confederation and married to the magistrate. Bless his little heart. The group reunite and learn that the Borg Queen, from the Borg Queen, that they can prevent the Confederation's formation by traveling to Los Angeles 2024, the same year as the Bell riots from Deep Space Nine, which they can only do with the Borg Queen's help. Agnes, Raffi, and Elnor take control of the communication and transporter systems in the Confederation, in the Confederation's headquarters, while Seven and Picard buy time during the public execution. As the crowd and the magistrate grow concerned with their stalling, the others complete their objectives. And Picard, Seven, Agnes, Raffi, Elnor, and the Queen are beamed up to Rios' ship. They are preparing to initiate time travel Kirk style when the magistrate and security officers beam aboard. They shoot and wound Elnor, and they prepare to execute them for treason. Now, that is just episode 2 alone, which is obviously preparing you for episode 3. So before we get into episode 3, what are your thoughts on episode 2? What were your thoughts on episode 2?
that it was mostly just intense. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to say, like, I mean, the whole business with like the eradication day is set up. I mean, I get it, you know, every time that we have like some sort of you know, fascist regime, we go to the Nazis, because I mean, it's very clear, right, that the costumes and set designs were inspired by Nazi designs, right? Like, I mean, Picard's almost rocking like that Hugo Boss SS uniform.
Right.
Oh no.
Just okay, so just as an aside, this is a terrible thing to say, and I fully accept that it's a terrible thing to say. But they did look sharp, guys. They did.
Hey, they look like they came straight out of the Sovereign class. Like,
you know, like, I mean, it all looks sharp, but just sort of watching, you know, watching them navigate this completely unfamiliar and awful environment. I can only imagine how horrible that would have been to, you know, just wake up and discover that everything that you knew, the entire world you knew, was gone and substituted with this insane, xenophobic, fascist, authoritarian regime. I mean, I feel terrible for Seven, because not only does she have to wake up in this bizarre world, she gets to wake up in this bizarre world and not even recognize her face.
Yeah.
I'm telling you again, like, let's go back. Let's look at those uniforms again.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm not gonna lie. With the exception of Agnes Girardi's. Agnes Girardi's, whatever that is not good. But
he's a scientist, so I mean, you know.
Yeah.
they look
But
like
I mean,
it's science.
they look like maternity clothes. Is what they
It's
look
science sheet.
right? I mean,
I thought that woman was. I thought that woman was pregnant.
She's giving birth to science. She's giving birth to science.
Look, I thought she was pregnant, and because it reminded me of Miss Babcock from The Nanny when she used the giant purse to hide the fact that she was pregnant.
Oh, okay.
Or
I'm not even
Jada
gonna lie,
Pinkett
I
in
may or may
Kingdom
not
Come
have
when she was
owned
hiding that she was
that
pregnant.
dress thing.
All I'm saying is the dress looked a little long. That's all I gotta say.
Very muted.
I mean, it was a weird silhouette. I'm not gonna lie, and especially when you contrast that with the silhouettes we saw in episode 1.
Right.
And again, I realize this is completely shallow and petty, but like, one of the things I really loved is like the outfit that they gave Issa Briones. Like, I thought that was fantastic. I thought the pantsuit for Girardi was fantastic, and then we moved to this very different environment. The lines are totally different. I love the set building and the world building that they're telling us and showing us just in costume design alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do approve of all of the costume work. Please, Jermaine.
Well, can you go back? It was the image that you showed in Girardi's, I guess, office. So that particular scene when the magistrate walks in, and you could tell the magistrate is like, I'm feeling something is not right here. And then Girardi just goes on this, I don't know, like 2-minute riff where she's trying to explain what happened.
Recapping season 1.
And it was just it was amazing to see her do this, because it was coming. It was just a verbal vomit of just stuff, but it made sense, and it was still in keeping with her character. I loved it. It was beautiful, so much so that no one had to say a single word.
Mm.
I was in it for the.
What was it like? Annika 7-shot Hansen?
Yeah.
I was like, that's amazing. That was
like
amazing.
she just threw that in there. Like, where did that come from? It was just like
I just want to know what drunk college Trek student wrote that to the script. and if
I'm sorry, it's me. I did it.
Right, of course, absolutely. And if she came up with that on her own, give that woman her own show. Okay, I'm so serious. That is talent that does not need to be wasted. Like, honestly,
she has a long history, right? Like, I mean, she's been in films for like years.
Who? Alison Pill?
Yes. Alison Pill is her name.
I loved her on.
Was it Newsday, Newsweek?
Newsroom.
Newsroom, and then she worked with Edgar Wright on Scott Pilgrim and a number of others.
Oh yes. That was so good, Scott
Yeah.
Pilgrim.
She was the
Represent
drummer.
Canadian.
She was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
She
drummer.
was the drummer in the
1,
band.
2, 3,
Scott
4.
Pilgrim.
Yes.
Okay,
So
Manny,
good.
what were your thoughts on episode 2?
For me, again, like I always am aware that it feels a little rushed to me because I'm like, used to TNG and having like 24 episodes, and so it's like they put action beats in it, and it's a good time for the episode, but I could see it having been 2 episodes. Like I could see that it could have been like if I kind of wish sometimes we had like a 20 episode arc in these Picard things, simply to decompress all of the ramifications. Like in TNG, it almost felt like you're walking around, um, you're walking around in Data's having like a poetry review, and then there's a
Right.
recital, and like it's chill. Like the world building is already there and stuff. Like in Picard, I feel like it's so rushed, even though they're attending to all those amazing details, like costumes, like you're deciding, but it's also like before you can soak it in, and that's maybe why you have to rewatch it so often. It's just like gone in a flash, and so I often feel like it's rushed for me, like as a viewer, simply because I remember the tempo of TNG. That's how I feel sometimes, like when I'm watching Picard.
And from a Hollywood perspective, the majority of our shows and movies are rushed, because they're trying to squeeze everything in. They're trying to make everything cost effective. They always miss the mark when it comes to pace. They always miss the mark.
Yeah, it's definitely how I feel.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily us saying take us back to TNG. We know this is now TNG, but as far as good storytelling goes, you can't sit here and tell the story so fast and not give us time to process anything. There are certain moments in care, because that's why for a lot of our shows, with the exception of Lower Decks, in my opinion, character development is highly missed. It's highly missed. Like and Prodigy did a really good job on continuing. Or at least we found out that they've continued from what I've learned. But it's because of that continuing that they must have realized that, hey, we probably didn't really look. It's not like we're asking them to come in and destroy sets. We have the animation technology. We have the voice actors. Let's do what they've been asking us to do all along. Hey, that's a good idea. Something we've been telling you literally since 2009.
I just want to butt in right there. So when it comes to character development, I'm there with you. I agree 100%. But I think there is a difference though. When we were watching TNG, we were watching it once a week, and you had to wait a couple years before you got the VHS, or years later the DVD. Right. Now we can just watch it once. Rewind.
You are literally showing our age, Jermaine.
It doesn't matter. I'm cool with my age.
It makes you feel better. I came out of the VHS age too. Okay, but I remember it.
To agree with you,
my Rugrats tape was orange.
The one thing that was missing was character development. I think they're doing a better job this season, much like Discovery. I think they're doing a better job in Picard than they are in Discovery.
Right.
4 seasons later. So yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, and let me do this. I'm gonna be Devil's / Discovery's advocate here. One of the things they're doing with Picard is we already know the world. We already know the main character, so we have a general idea. Like they just have to do a shorthand. Like all last season, we knew who Data was. We knew who Lal was. So we knew what was going on. We know all the major players, and so I think Discovery has been kind of a little bit at sea because they didn't really initially have that same sort of basis. They tried to get it in season 2 when they reintroduced Spock, number 1, Chris Pike, and everybody by that point was like, but you're pandering. And then it turned out that they were great. And we were like, okay, all right, we'll forgive that. And now that we're in a different location, 3191 in seasons 3 and 4, I think that's why we're starting to see it turn around, is because now we have enough time with these characters and the world that they don't really have to waste so much time world building.
Right.
I will agree that I think season 1 spent a lot of time rejecting the world building that was already in place in canon.
Oof.
Fine. That was a bad idea. And I agree that season 2 was maybe overcorrecting.
Yeah, they were trying to undo what they did.
Y'all, I have a master's degree in diplomacy, and I have never worked quite so hard as I am tonight. Right now on this show. But
kudos to you.
But I think coming out of the gate, Picard already had an audience.
Yes.
Picard we already knew who he was, and they were able to just skip all of that introductory nonsense. And all we had to worry about necessarily was a much more streamlined storytelling format for Raffi and Elnor. And I mean, admittedly, it took Agnes a while. It took us a while to get a sense of who she was, because she was kind of a hot mess there. And she's a hot mess now, even in season 2, but it's a familiar hot mess. Like this is who she is.
I already know where y'all are going with this. I'm looking at Jermaine right now. Just okay.
I'm glad you know where we're going with this, because I lost the train of thought around hot mess, so I can't really say anything.
I thought of episode 2. I knew episode 2 was preparing me for something. Obviously, it was the time jump. We knew that was going to come. I'm glad that there was this encounter with Seven, the Queen, and Picard in the same room. But I knew that there had to be more to the story, because just like we were looking for that conversation to be had between Picard and Seven, which we've found out that they now are going to be characters to stick with each other throughout the whole season. Now I was looking for a conversation between those two and the Queen. That's the conversation that I was looking for. And the fact that Seven sat there and said, "And we have her," that pretty much built up the character development, the start of the character development for the Queen that we needed to make her one of the crew members. Now, I don't think anyone could see that coming, of the Queen being part of the group to help fix the past. And she crawls around like a damn spider at Girardi. You can tell she liked Girardi from the beginning. But
so also, that was vaguely terrifying. I mean, I had flashbacks to the Japanese original Ringu for that one. I was just like, I was like, well done, Miss Wershing. Like, congratulations. Yep, right there.
Yeah,
hello,
wow.
Nightmare Fuel.
Now, this is a modernized Queen. This is a modernized Queen in the Confederation, minus the whole cape and gown thing that we saw in the other.
So are we moving to episode 3 now?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Because this is episode 3.
This is right after she said, "Allow me." Yeah.
And then she took them
right. And I accepted the fact that she said, "Allow me," because at that point she could identify as an individual. The Borg could be interpreted as a non-binary species, because they always use they, them, we pronouns. But she used she shunned anyone, even Seven in Voyager in one instance, when she said me. There is no me, there is no I, there is only us, one mind. And then, with coming actors passing through, occasionally they use I, me, or whatever. But in this case, she had every right to use, when she said, "Allow me," I was terrified. She crawled around that tote of a thing and crawled at Girardi, lifted up her hands, and a bunch of webs just came out of nowhere. I'm terrified. I'm scared. I'm like, I was scared just as much as I was scared in low key as a child watching First Contact, which is
so
this right here, this is where the generational question exists, because you were terrified watching First Contact. I was turned on.
I have someone to add to your book.
Right. I remember watching. Seriously, guys. There was something I'm not even going to apologize, because there's something about the way Alison Krieger wandered around, and how she made. I mean, I don't know how she did it, but there was a magnetism.
It was sexual. It was.
I mean, yeah.
All I gotta say is Robin would
That
be
was
very
definitely one of those things that was like,
Yeah.
oh, right. No, still buy.
all I gotta say is Robin would be very proud of us right now.
I know. Well, but it took me 20 minutes to come into like the unfortunate hot rod line. So maybe not. I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay, so now we're about 20 minutes in. Those were my thoughts on episode 2. Because
Sorry,
we're gonna
Manny.
be on episode 3. So, Marie, did you have something?
No, I was just going to apologize to Manny for like taking it to like the hot place so fast.
That's okay. You take it wherever you want.
If it helps, I would not mind Eleanor being my boyfriend. I would not mind.
I mean, hopefully
He's gay in real life.
Is he
In
really?
real life?
Oh,
I follow his Instagram.
I thought he had a girlfriend on Insta. It's been ages since I've mucked about, but
Okay, moving on. Let's move on.
we gotta move on. We can talk about Evan Evagora like much later, and I probably just butchered the man's name. Sorry, Evan. Do you know he flies fast and low on Star Trek shitposting on Facebook?
Oh, get out.
Yeah, no, and he'll actually like drop little references to it on his social media, right? Like about things that he saw on Star Trek shitposting.
That's funny. You think though, right? Like you're on a show like that or whatever, and you want to get into the meme, especially if you're younger, the meme culture of like what's happening up there.
I think he has. I think he has. I mean, this is like one of his first jobs.
Really? I thought he looked familiar to me.
And
I watch a lot of television, so
fair enough. And he's landed like this, because Star Trek is kind of a phenomenon, and it's been a phenomenon since 1966, right? Like, I mean, not necessarily. I love that William is still checking this out. Like, I have killed his cat. Like, that's what's going on up there.
Who is this girl?
Okay, we can find that out a little later.
Right, but I think I really love that he's embraced it, sort of like Mary Wiseman and her husband have embraced it, because he's a huge. I mean, he was a huge Star Trek fan and actually did an AMA on shitposting, and Noah like keeps talking about it on his social media or whatever, but they've embraced it. I think Evan has taken it a step forward. That dude is like all in on the cruises and the convention circuit. Really? He's like, yeah, dog.
I felt the same way about Peter Capaldi when he was.
You can't have her, Marco. She's mine.
When he became the Doctor.
You know what?
And
he can have Evan.
That's Alice Krieg. That's like William Shatner. It's like everyone wants the original. Like it's just that they just want the original.
Did I read somewhere that
it's their ideal, right? The first is always the ideal.
I don't know, man. Can we talk about how fantastic Annie Wersching has been?
She was really good. Like her performance so far has been really good, really stellar.
I have never seen her in anything else. I love
I think you've seen her, you just don't realize.
I mean, that's
an episode of Enterprise.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, you're right. I did see her in that, and had no recollection, but but she's been fantastic. Like, I mean, she's been terrifying. And yes, Marco, I finally got to see episode 3, and she's been terrifying. And if I can jump forward a little bit, like
she's terrifying.
Discussion she has with Picard, and she's talking about negotiating for the ship. I mean. Thus far, she's been kind of out of it, kind of crazy. But that moment right there, that moment is where Annie Wersching just owns her queen. We are now getting a very different, snarky, very new type of Borg queen, and I am here for it. I mean, I got to tell you, like I low key stan this Borg queen.
I'm gonna read the summary to episode 3 since we're here on the topic, but I just want to
you can almost see the damn it, Marie. Like
put it this way. I am more pissed that my boyfriend left me and got with some other girl. Oh, I verified it.
Oh,
Marie was telling the truth.
No.
And now I'm just I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay.
So what? He's straight. He's straight.
I think he's bi because
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen him. I've seen him fly those colors. I've seen him post certain
Well,
things.
maybe that's more like, in solidarity. You know what I'm saying?
No. You and I both know that there's a certain look that there's. You know, I'm just saying.
A certain look for what?
I'm not even gonna get there with you. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay. Now we want to move.
I'm not
Okay.
gonna do that.
All right. Let's move.
Okay,
Your
before we go
summary.
too far,
I'm hot right now.
Episode
I'm
3,
actually really hot
summary.
right now.
Bro,
Like,
in
I'm
the
not even
comment
kidding.
section.
Like,
Who is this new person?
who?
No, there's a gauntlet that's been thrown in the comments section. Something
The
about
girl?
a name that will not be spoken, and I would like to know who that name
Oh, wait a
that will not
minute.
be spoken is.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, you were trying to defend
Let me
this
see the person whose name I shall
shall
not speak.
not speak.
I mean, I would like to know who the Voldemort of Star Trek is.
Anyone who
okay.
takes any one of William's boyfriends away.
I'm sure she's a perfectly
He's
lovely
6'25". He was perfect for me. But it's okay. It's okay because I'm gonna have my own show one day. And I hope he finds this.
I won't keep
Summary.
drinking. I
William,
won't keep
summary.
drinking.
Summary. Damn it. Okay. All right. Assimilation. I'm gonna try not to stutter on this one. Lord, no. I actually got hot too. So anyway,
The
assimilation.
vapors.
Number 3. 7 distracts the magistrate, who, bless his heart. Every time I even look at the magistrate, I literally think, bless my heart, in the most insulting 7 way possible when I look at that man. Oh, bless your heart, baby. Just, they casted you so right. 7 distracts the magistrate long enough for the group to overpower and kill him and his officers. The ship comes under attack, and the Queen takes advantage of the situation to directly connect herself to the ship's computers, which I don't know why she wouldn't take over the ship then, but it's whatever. She destroys their pursuers and slingshots the ship around the sun, again, Kirk style, creating a wormhole to 2024 Los Angeles, not that far from where we are right now, where Picard and his crew must find the Watcher, who knows what Q changed to the cause of the new timeline. The ship crashes, and the Queen diverts all power.
If this turns out to be Benicio del Toro, I'm out.
The ship crashes, and the Queen diverts all power, including from the medical bay, or I don't know why it says medical bay here. Everyone knows it's called sick bay, to sustain herself. Elnor dies of his wounds, and Raffi angrily blames Picard before departing with 7 and Rios to start searching for the Watcher. I'm surprised they didn't name this episode The Watcher. Rios no, that's probably another episode. Rio's transporter malfunctions and he is knocked out, waking up in a clinic that secretly treats undocumented immigrants. I actually discussed this a few episodes back, I think. Before he can leave, immigration officers raid the clinic and arrest both Rios and the physician. Her name is Teresa. Rio's communicator is left behind. Despite Picard's warnings, Agnes connects her mind to the Queen and learns the exact location of the Watcher before she can be assimilated, thus impressing the Queen.
Michael, we know you're mad. You're mad that Book lived, but just embrace it. Just embrace it.
The death in Picard's ship at the death in Disco. No, Michael. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't even know he commented something.
I'm big man.
Damn.
All right. Also, can we have a brief moment to appreciate the beauty of Santiago Cabrera speaking in his native Spanish, because that was amazeballs.
All I gotta say is it brought back certain college memories I'll never forget.
That whole scene with him in that office, like everything that happened, the interaction between him and the little kid, the interaction between him and the nurse and the doctor, like all of that, even the fact that storyline around ICE, like bringing in like what's happening today,
yes.
and like including it in what we already know about that period of time,
moving into the Bell riots, which we know had a racial component.
It was amazing. And then also the fact that he a transporter accident. He fell and actually hurt himself, like for real hurt himself. And they
Did
showed
anybody else have Chekhov vibes?
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of that. And as someone who had a concussion, everything that he did is actually what happens, except he got a little faster. But that's actually what happens.
And I'm sure people we've all asked, like, what we've seen transporter accident episodes, but I'm sure we've like Shrek, love you, peace, long, yeah, yeah, awesome, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Michael.
We like, what happens if you're like let go of the transporter being mid-air? Well, that's what happens. You fall. But I actually brought this up. I remember bringing this up in a Black Trek episode. And I don't know if you were here for this. I think you were. I said I did. Okay, great. So I asked the question, what possible racial components, ramifications will we run into in 2024? Because we all know it ain't, and it's not between 2022 and 2024. It's not going to be solved overnight. Like. Yeah, exactly.
No, and I love it. I love that we are clearly like grasping onto this and talking about like the inequities that exist in American culture. And, like it's not even pretending, right?
It's
I mean,
not pretending. It's
the disco finale, which, pissed off Ted Cruz so hard. And like, can we
so
also
happy.
have a brief moment? Yep. I am 150% behind anything that pisses off Ted Cruz. But they're highlighting what's going on. There's this great moment where Seven is standing. Hello, computer. Where Seven and Raffi are standing on that building whose name I cannot remember because, like, apparently the wine has sapped my memory. But you're standing there, and Seven looks out, and she says, "Out there, history is happening," and that's one of those great lines that it both refers to the upcoming riots, but it also refers to what's going on right now. History is happening now, and they look out at the the fires. We all know California has spent the last 2 years on fire, or however long. So how no one has wandered around looking at 7 of 9, like, what is that leather thing you got going? I don't know.
Speaking of 7 and like this whole dialogue right here, I'm sorry to cut you off, Marie. I really am. Before this point, when Raffi and 7 met up, and we saw like a little smile on 7's face. I guess for me, and they kind of revealed it a little later, it was kind of like no one is like tripping out. You know what I'm saying? Like, she has everyone knows that she's a Borg, right? Yeah. But now in this time, in this space, no one is like really tripping out about who she is and what she is. And she's free to be who she is. And she, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's no longer stressed. And that was awesome to see as well.
I mean, to be fair, they've got bigger fish to fry.
I mean, yeah, but it's like there was this moment that 7 had with this kid, and you knew right then and there she was thinking about Naomi, right?
And also, there's a great moment where she looks at herself in the mirror, and she hasn't really had time to digest that what's been taken from her, because on the one hand, she's been given, like Jermaine's talking about, this very real freedom to be something other than an XB, but on the other, that's such an important part of who she is. Like, that's been taken from her, and I don't think she's really had enough time to digest it.
Yeah, because to her, she was just a Borg yesterday.
Recovered
yesterday. And as she was talking to this kid, I knew she was thinking about Naomi Wadman, subunit of Samantha Wadman, and it's weird. I remember that because the first time Naomi sees her, she's afraid of her, and 7 knows this. Now, at the time, 7 just came out the collective, so she's unfazed by it. But over time, she's feeling her other side of her humanity, and now and here's the thing: she's expressed multiple times she's too afraid to go back to Earth. She is too afraid because of how she knows, which probably adds to her story, which I hope they'll show in another show of her becoming a vigilante. But she was afraid to go back to Earth because of how she knew they would treat her, not how just afraid or worried, how she knew, because apparently there were other XBs across the quadrant, and now she's trying to save them all. And unfortunately, Egypt didn't make it. But
Also,
now she's
can we have a comment? Can we have a brief moment, like a show of hands? Who here would watch a Fenris Rangers series?
I'm telling you, I think that's what that 7 show is going to be
And
about.
Manny's like, no, I'm too good for you.
No, I'm still upset. Like that Ichib died. I'm still upset. We don't know how she became a Fenris Ranger. Obviously, it makes sense that maybe she was more alienated and has that sort of thing. But I never liked that. It's too simple. Like we really don't have the like post Voyager plot. We don't really know. It bothers me.
It bothers me a lot. It bothers
Smash cut to her being a Fenris Ranger. I'm like, how did you? It's all super vague, and she's a different person, but we don't understand the differences. That is, it's bothersome because I can't understand her character because she was this one character in Voyager, and now we've shed a lot of that, and we don't understand her growth or her change or whatever it is that like allowed her to come to this point.
So can I opine on that point? So we see the introduction of 7 with her attempting to rescue Icheb because there's this Borg, black market for Borg parts or whatever. And, here he is, he's terminal and he just needs her to end his life. And I think what's happening there and what's part of the radicalization of 7 is that the Federation has failed her. The Federation has failed Icheb. The Federation has failed all of the people in like the outer skirts, and we saw that with that planet whose name I can't recall, where Picard found Elnor. The Federation, So the Federation has broken down, and so what I see is her moving to the Fenris Ranger as a response, partially in anger. And partially because she's still driven to do better. Like she's still driven by her experiences in Voyager with all the better parts of Starfleet to try to move into that power vacuum that was created. The only problem is that obviously it's a semi-vigilante group because it has to be. There exists a power vacuum, and so something has to fill that power vacuum. And so for me, I actually thought that was what they were trying to do with the Icheb sequence.
Yes, you're right. Actually, that makes perfect sense the way that you described it. So
I just hope that
now would I like to see more of that? Would I like to see that dramatized? I think that would be fantastic. I mean, I am 150% behind the opportunity to get to see Jerry Ryan take this character and show us how that change occurred.
Yeah, I'm still bothered by some of the canon that like we set up in Voyager. For instance, the fact that 7 of 9 is supposed to be like a galaxy level genius. Like when she got picked up by the think tank and they're like, we want her because she's like one of us. Much of that is dependent on her actual like Borg implants and development, right? She can access all this stuff. And then now she doesn't have it. And she's still a genius. Does memory, like for me, biologically, technologically, I'm bothered by the lack of explanation of the absence or presence of like Borg technology in those things. I find that it's scant. I find
we haven't had the opportunity to see her do that yet. And some of that I think is because the show's been trying to figure out what to do with Agnes Jurati.
Yeah,
we're gonna do something with her.
Again, still 2 words, guys. Hot mess.
She's really when she killed off Lieutenant Commander Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like, how do you repent for something like that, right? Like,
I mean, first off, I'm trying to think of any TNG fan that would cry to see Maddox die.
We would.
Most of us would not.
He tried to take Data away.
They figured it out.
Well, yeah, they figured it out because she was like. Okay, this is the part that I
also like. Everybody who just needs to embrace the fact that like everybody else in this whole in this 4 window is so much a better person than I am. Like Manny is over here like, no, it's fine. We've moved beyond that, and I'm over here like, let's pillory him, stick him on a gibbet. We're all good.
He literally tried to turn Data into a slave and duplicate him.
And then did create that race, right? But with Data's help, I'm assuming.
I don't know how much help he could have been. Like, he was in that weird sort of like capsule thing.
Look, all I gotta say is this. I think Trekkers and Trekkies loved Agnes's character so much that the writers had to figure out some way to bring her back, and she just gave a one-sentence explanation saying, "Oh, I was under an alien mind control," which is a typical explanation, kind of like what Kes was saying when she left Voyager. I'm in control of my actions. I'm not under some influence, because that's the first thing that comes up. Were you under control? Because I feel like they use that as a get out of jail free card for a lot of times. O'Brien, everyone, like, you know.
So let's talk about that for a second. Like, if you were
I think she got off too easy.
If you were so in American jurisprudence, and also like British and Australian, I should imagine, a crime is composed of two parts.
Right.
There's the actus reus, which is the bad act, and then there's the mens rea, which is the bad mind. Because the point is, you have to have a certain mental state with respect to your bad act in order for your bad act to fall under the definition of a particular crime. So the point of being under mind control, which is legitimate in the Star Trek universe, that would actually entirely undercut any sort of mens rea that she might have had. So, like, technically, she wouldn't necessarily have been guilty of a crime because she doesn't fit the definition. She doesn't have the requisite mental state, and that's a defense that we run now.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people will fight. I mean, that's and it's a good, solid, logical defense, and I think it's necessary.
Okay.
And so when we talk about how she got off a little bit,
like,
I think Girardi is an interesting case because at the end of the day, like, she knew that she was killing him. I'm not sure how far the Romulan so-called mind control actually extended, and I think that's a whole interesting conversation that I would love to write a law journal article about. But as far as getting off easy, yeah, it feels a little hand wavy, but it's not as weird as you might think.
So it does hold weight to it. Okay, cool. Because it's like, I didn't really think of it as like a mind control thing. I'm more, I guess mind control even is information is information, no matter how you transfer it and how that information is interpreted or blended into your mind. As crazy as it made everyone else, it probably could be interpreted as mind control. So I get it.
And we also don't know if implanted a suggestion either.
Yeah. Post-hypnotic suggestion is something like where
saying, now that you know this, you have to do this.
Right. I mean, we don't know if any of that, if any of that occurred, which I think is an interesting question. And I agree, but I do agree with you. It would have been nice to have had that as more than like a drunken one-liner to avoid.
It was literally a one-liner. Like, I was like, that's it?
That's the rush. That's the rush part. Let's Jermaine. Well, I think once.
Was Jermaine confused? What's up, Jermaine?
No, I wasn't confused. I guess I wanted to try to understand what specifically you all were talking about, because at least for me, as I was watching it, like, I knew not full well. Once she described, hey, she showed me this, and I'm doing all these things, and it was clear that she didn't want to do those things. Something had happened to her to make her do those things. And so it was no surprise for me, you know what I'm saying? That, she did the things that she did.
It's fair.
So I guess the question for me would be, one, is it actually like a situation where her mental state is superseded if there's some sort of suggestion that's involved? Or if she's, by what she's seen, she's been convinced of the necessity of her actions, in which case, at that point, you're looking less at being able to attack the mens rea component of the crime and more that you need to run a justification defense.
I'm not looking at it from a legal
very, very different.
I'm looking at it from an entertainment perspective. To be honest with you.
Well, let me take this. Let me take this.
No. But like, give me a second. The reason this is important is it goes back to one of the things that Rillick says in the last episode, the last episode of Discovery.
Last episode.
She says, reasons matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't, justice can never be just.
I love
and so
that
what
line.
I'm wondering, and what I'm wondering is if that's what's going on a little bit with Girardi as well.
Right.
Right. And so, because the difference between a justification defense is that we've acknowledged that you're guilty of whatever the hell you did. We've acknowledged that it's a crime, but as a society, we've recognized that you had reasons to do what you did. We are tempering justice with compassion for your situation. And so, like, I think it would have been a really interesting conversation to have about Girardi, if that makes any sense. So that's where I was going with it.
Can I take this concept and loop it around back to the Borg Queen? Do you think
I love it? Everybody's just like, okay, stop talking, Marie.
Well, no. It's not even that. It's not even that. You took it to a place, but now I'm the segue prince. So, let's take this into consideration. We know Girardi's a very special character, to put it mildly, and she's had a mind meld with a half Vulcan, half Romulan, and which compelled her to kill Maddox. Do you think that she probably has some residual leftover abilities to help protect her from being assimilated from the Borg Queen and finding the information she needed?
I don't think so, because I don't think so, because and the only reason I say that is because, like, I remember some of those I don't know, commercials or whatever for Picard, and we see what looked like Girardi wearing a red dress, and so that tells me that she goes crazy at some point. And so maybe, she was supposed to have been, fully, turned into a Borg or whatever, but that what you're describing kind of stopped it from progressing to that point. But I think eventually something is going to happen to her as a result of that interaction between she and Borg Queen.
So that red dress in the teaser trailer just said so much Cylon to me from Battlestar Galactica, like the reboot.
Especially with the hair.
Oh,
right?
Man.
Right?
I don't know what
I was getting real Trisha Helfer vibes.
All I gotta say is, in that dress, she put Seven to shame. That's all I gotta say.
But I do want to say this. I don't want that to be true. I want Agnes to be a badass in her own right. I want her to have this opportunity.
She is,
but I think she's proven that, to be honest.
She's starting to prove that.
I don't want to take. I want her. I don't want her, like, this. This trauma that she went through. I don't want that, like, whatever did inside her brain to take away from that. I want Agnes on her own, like, who she is, the way her mind is compartmentalized. I want her to be able to do this, because I think that's going to be that's so hugely empowering for her. And you can very much see that at the end of the episode, when she is literally, she is 2 seconds from flipping that lady the bird. And I am, again, here for that.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that her Borg meld with the Queen depreciated or enhanced her character development with Girardi?
She said she was impressed.
I think we get to see a very different side of her.
As far as Agnes goes, in her character development to become the Agnes that you say you want her to be in her own right.
I think it's huge.
I think it did, because before she was at least to me, she always seemed like she was unsure of herself. In that moment, she wasn't afraid at all. Like a Borg Queen, who would not be afraid of a Borg Queen?
Here's the thing:
she wasn't.
She expressed like she was almost addicted, like she was hungry for it right after it. Like, it didn't look like revenge; it looked like thirst.
What part? What are you talking about?
Agnes, Girardi. When Picard
was like, Agnes was thirsting after the Queen, or the Queen was thirsting after Agnes?
She beat the Borg Queen.
The fact that she beat the Borg Queen, and she's standing there with the cover right over her, and she's like, "There's something else. There's more. I'm gonna find it." Like crazy scientist type, which I really love, by the way. I like the typical crazy scientist look, but like, she played that. And it looked like she was hungry for it. She looked like she was hungry for more.
The
It was
Boar
empowering.
Queen is a defined evil, right? Like it's a defined evil, and
The
I
queen, the
think,
Boar Queen, is literally the baddest bitch in the universe, in our
and
universe.
this is,
Mhm.
and she got one up on her,
And she
she
got
wants to
one up
continue
on
to do
her
it.
like that.
That's part of her redemption arc as well.
You got to take this into consideration. Commodore O melded. This is where I was going. Commodore O melded with Girardi, who melded with the Queen. You got to think about this. Like, as far as who Girardi is about to become, she's about to become the badass of the universe. That's
so
what I'm about to
I
happen.
see this as a violation narrative.
How so?
Commander O violates Girardi because
Yes.
Girardi did not consent to what happened to her.
Yeah, definitely,
Right?
definitely.
And that's a huge violation. She is now moving away from that violation and embracing her own power and her own quirkiness and all of this other jazz. And I see this as a healing narrative, right? From she's moving from, having been violated, and, one of the most intimate ways you can possibly be violated. Like, I mean, Commodore O cracked her head open like an egg.
Yeah, and programmed her.
Yeah.
I don't mean to segue because I do have to go in a bit, but I do want to make sure that we discuss. I apologize. The Bell riots, the past tense, the idea of sanctuary districts, what we saw and what we're experiencing, and that. How amazing is it that we are finally getting some recognition of the DS9 world?
We're seeing. I couldn't find a picture, but to Manny's point, what we saw in the episode was a modernized sanctuary district, as we would see it in 2020. Well, as we would see it in 2022 motion picture, and which is pretty much like an offspring of uncleaned projects. I don't know, and it looked like a giant area, which is literally no different than what we have today. So,
yeah.
So it's not, you're not far off at all. And I'm glad that they rolled with that. And I think they know that we know, because this is how Picard differentiates from the other Trek shows. They're all good. They're all in canon. They're all there. But Picard has been the lead, in my opinion, has been the lead in keeping things not only in canon, but reminding you of canon things that you might have forgotten. And I like that. And they keep it subtle. They don't push it in your face. They keep it subtle so that way only Trekkies would know. Picard is meant for Trekkies. Discovery is meant for the rest of the world.
Lower Decks is similar. It's super referential, but it acts humorous. It has a different beat to it. Picard is dramatic and super TNG, right? It's an extension of TNG, and a lot of us were the TNG generation, right? So seeing look, we all have these hopes for like Picard, and I think we're already sad that it's wrapped on the third season, and that's it. It's like 3 and done.
I hope they make a movie after that or something. I don't know.
I saw a meme
the
other day.
My heart is still hurting about that. It still hurts.
At least we got 3.
I'm glad.
That's valid. That's valid. Again, Manny once again proves that he's a better person than I am.
I'm going like, Patrick, are you dying? If you are,
he is.
Tell us.
He's sick. He has cardiovascular problems. He talked about it in like an interview how like he's got heart problems and how hard it was for him on set. Yeah, he's having a rough go. It's old, man.
I know that, but like,
I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Yes, it's exactly. I mean, it's getting depressing,
right?
but
he's in his 80s. Yeah.
So yeah, like that's why they did it so fast too. Like one after the other.
Maybe they're going to do something brilliant and pick it up with 7 story. I don't know.
I saw a meme the other day. It's like, stop dropping like General Cisco in like in the episode or whatever. Give us Star Trek Cisco. Give us give it to me. I want it. I want it in my hands. Give it to me. And give Avery Brooks
like
7 seasons.
How amazeballs would it be if the Watcher is
Gabriel Bell?
Cisco?
Oh.
Like
I actually, for some reason, I actually think that is going to be Guinan.
I agree, Guinan. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen her, so it would be a really great way to use the character.
we know that she is in this season. We do know that eventually she's going to talk to Q. There's some Q entanglement there. I read somewhere that we're going to finally see resolution and
between the two of
understand,
them,
like,
right? Mhm.
Yeah. Also, I
And-
really kind of want to. I kind of want to watch Guinan get the opportunity to eviscerate her own demons / Borg Queen.
Yeah, I never even thought
You gotta
about
think
that.
about it because she never had a one-on-one with the Borg Queen before.
Mhm.
And this
And
is
Guinan lost everything.
Guinan was the doorway from a writer's perspective that Trek needed to introduce the Borg through Q in the first place to our quadrant. Like, because I think Eloria is probably somewhere in the Beta quadrant or something like that. And Generations, the whole backstory, you know all of that.
I mean, it's gone now.
I mean, yeah, it's dust. But I'm just saying, like, there is a lot. What, you know what? It's plausible. What if it is Guinan? What if? Like, seriously, right, Manny? So
Yes.
I'm just gonna go through these because we have like five minutes. So I'm just gonna go through this.
Do it.
You've
Nice.
impressed me. Literally the best line I have ever heard from the Borg Queen in my life. This woman killed it. She sold it. She brought it back to life, and she killed it again. And I'm here for it. I loved it. I absolutely.
Again, I low key stand her Borg Queen.
Yeah. Let's see here. I noticed in episode 2 that there was a brief smile. When Picard was like shooting the other people, and she was like,
Yeah. I remember that. Mhm.
And honestly, it's not unlike the Borg Queen, because when Janeway got quote unquote assimilated, you saw her smile. Like I'm just saying, it's not unlike her. We have Seven and Raffi in downtown Los Angeles. I don't know what building that is, but I'm sure we're going to see it in 2 years. This is them as they're attempting to go back in time. Thankfully, we did not see a bunch of floating white heads.
Also, can we take a moment, because I think there's actually something I want to say before we get too far into this, and Rios is what brings it up. One of the things I really love about Picard is that they assume we know things as viewers. They don't explain the butterflies reference because they assume we already know that it's chaos theory.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking
about. And
I
loved it. I was like, okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
This is from episode 2 when she says, "Allow me," and I'm just like, I'm dead. I'm scared.
It's nice.
Did she just crawl? She crawled on 2 hands, and she's looked like she was slithering like a snake. Did y'all see how smooth she crawled?
Yeah.
I mean, you realize that like she was literally, the actress was using her legs though.
Of course, that's beside the point. Like all I know,
just little bits of facts here, little bits of facts. You know, although I also really love that. You know, one of the things she's like, when he's like, what do you want? She's like, well, legs for starters. And I was like, yeah, fair.
It's just, I love her humor because it makes sense. It makes sense. She's there before the divergence in time. She is an individual, and she, even though she didn't know it until after she woke up, she melded with Jurati. And so all of it makes sense to me. It makes sense. And all I need is you can have character development. You can have new stuff as long as you stay in line with it, which I think Picard does in an amazing, amazing way. We've seen this. Oh, Raffi. Oh, sweetheart. I am so sorry for your loss. Like, I know you mad, baby. I know you mad. This is it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, did you have to?
Why do we do this?
It's too soon.
Why?
William.
Why did this happen?
Look, we have 2 minutes. We have literally 1 minute left, and I'm showing this because I don't think Elnor is dead permanently. Because
no, he's not.
Also,
as I read his message,
how he distracted her, so she didn't actually have to watch him die.
I mean, as I read his Instagram post, usually when a character dies, they usually post like some message. It's been a pleasure to play. Blah, blah, blah. He did not post that.
Yeah, true.
Which means that's the thing about time travel. So, it's whatever. And then we see these new uniforms, which I ain't gonna lie. If they made a uniform like Raffi's for me, I would wear that. I would definitely wear that. I'm here.
You're tall enough that you can get away with like the code of sex there.
Oh yeah, and the way that her hair hangs down and everything. Oh, I could do it. Absolutely. Then Picard looks like a general, which I'm here for. Elnor, I'm still mad at you. I can't talk to you right now. I'm glad they shot your ass. But and then I'm sorry, I'm not sad anymore. I'm sorry. Like and Girardi
You
over
hating,
here,
bro? You hating?
I really am. I really am. And Girardi over here in her maternity clothes. So
Oh no.
What about, you know what? It was so badass seeing him fight again, and then also killing people with the badge, like he was killing people with the badge, man.
killing
Like,
people with a badge, and I'm glad. And
I mean, he went full on Coad Milot there, and it was really nice to get to see that again.
Yeah,
mhm.
What is
absolutely.
with them snapping all these necks in Star Trek, man? We lost Hugh, we lost Ichev, we lost Elnor. I mean,
They did
I
not have to do Egypt and Hugh like that. They did
just
not
did
have
him
to do
so
that.
dirty.
They
I'm
did
just-
Yeah,
not.
no, I'm still like watching
This
Hugh
is-
die was not okay. That was not
I'm
that was not
hoping-
okay.
I'm hoping. What I'm hoping for is that when they fix, obviously they're going to fix it. When they do fix it, we see Hugh again. I understand they didn't want to bring Egypt back because of a certain actor that will remain nameless. But when it comes to Hugh,
There we
I'm
go.
sorry.
That's the Star Trek Voldemort.
What?
Yes.
There we go.
What happened?
We'll talk later.
We'll talk later. So,
Oh my goodness.
guys, thank you so much for recapping with me on episode 2 and 3. I freaking love these episodes. I watch them again and again and again. Thank you to the 6 people, now 4, that have been hanging with us, watching this live stream. So it's great. Thank you for, I'm sure it's probably some family members, some friends, and Marco and everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Share this, like it, comment, everything else. Guys, do you have any final thoughts before we head out?
I try real hard not to think.
Deuces. Hold on.